Because if you say you're only coming out for 20 quid, then that's barely covering petrol money nowadays. I don't think I was getting the answers back, and I don't know if anything changed since, you know, our initial conversations.
What is your worst trait?
My worst trait, but for me now, I ain't got really time to waste for people that are wasting my time. In that respect, like for me, you got to show me respect, because people know I'm deep in this thing. Like whether you like it or not, I'm not going anywhere.
Thank you so much for kind of coming on to the podcast. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, bro. This is a long time coming, man. How are you?
I know. I'm good. I'm good. This is definitely a long time coming. There's literally been a few of us that have been in this industry for over 7-8 years now, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've been doing this off and on for like 4 to 5, but even before then, I've been playing amateur grassroots football for the longest time now. So yeah, it's been a while. It's been a slog, but we're getting there, man. And hopefully, we're starting to get our just rewards, man.
What was your kind of childhood like? And again, have you got any brothers and sisters? And what was the dynamic in your family?
No brothers and sisters, only child, just me. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward, really. Like mum, dad was around. Used to play down the local like playing area. It wasn't like grass or anything like that at the time. It is now, but at the time it's just like a tarmac area. And we used to play all your you know games back in the day. You know, like Kirby and all the rest of it, like all the games that you'd think about like back in the day down there. And that was just like out there until like the lights come off. Like I remember times when my mum used to come grab me, like otherwise I'd be there probably still till now. Like, didn't you got to come home? You know those times, innit? Like just no PlayStations back then, no Xbox back then or anything like that. Just playing out with your friends. And then that's just, the best times really. Just all you need is a ball, some markings on the wall, and that's it. You're good to go, innit? So that was my entries into football.
Can you remember your first creative thought?
First creative thoughts. God, I don't even know. It would have been like, you know what? Probably like in my teens, like I was into wrestling, still sort of interested right now. And obviously back in the day, I wanted to be a wrestler, so I was probably coming up with like wrestling names and stuff like that. I remember my cousin one time put together like this terrible attire, but I can't remember the name, so don't even try and ask me what my stage name would have been. But it just putting together some like terrible wrestling gear, and that's probably that one. And then my second one, I've just got a flashback of it now. You know, everyone wanted to be an MC back in the day, innit? So I think when I was about 16, 17, tape deck, spitting bars. Bars are terrible. Name was terrible. But again, everyone went through that stage of their life where everyone was going to be an MC, whatever, or they thought it was going to be the next thing. So those were my two creative moments there.
Mm-hmm. And actually, what did football play a part in your family? And again, when did you figure out for yourself, right? You know what? I'm actually kind of good at this sport.
I'll be honest, I was never good. Terrible, terrible player. So yeah, I just played it for fun. Yeah, I think I even started late in terms of secondary school. I think I started about year 9 playing football, like playing outside of football, outside like for local teams and stuff like that. But obviously it started early doors, like watching, supporting, all the rest of it. I was always interested in the media side of things, and always like the transfers as well. Like I remember like one transfer in particular, Les Ferdinand, when he moved from QPR to Newcastle, and that's what kind of triggered my love for Newcastle, because local to where I was living at the time, played for Hayes and Yedden, where I'm from, played for QPR, which is like very close to where I'm from. Then he made the big move to Newcastle. I was like, oh, right, he's going to this club in the Northeast. And then before you know it, like I'm fell in love with this club that's like hundreds of miles away from where I'm living. Like I could have supported, I could have just been simple. I could have just supported like QPR or Brentford or any team in West London, but I ended up supporting a team that's all the way in the northeast. So yeah, that's I got Les Ferdinand to blame for supporting Newcastle. It's paying off now, right? It's paying off now.
It is now.
Yeah.
So your teenage years in like high school, like how like were you within your kind of peer circle? How did the teachers treat you, and like what like did the teachers think you were going to be? Because of course everyone kind of has that careers day or whatever. Like what did like the teachers think you would end up as?
God knows, but I remember, you know, when you had to choose your 3 subjects, I chose PE, geography, and what was the last one? I can't remember the last one, but basically I had a hand in all 3 of those subjects. Remember, so PE, sport, hence the reason what I'm doing now. Geography, I traveled for like 2 years, so again I love geography. And then there was something else, the third one I can't remember now, but I had a hand in that as well. What I wanted to do back then, it's probably different to what I'm doing now. I must admit. I mean, I wasn't like a fuck up. If you can we swear on this?
Yeah, well, definitely.
I didn't fuck up. Basically, like I wasn't one of them. But I don't know. I don't know if I can remember that far back, man. You know, I'm getting on. You know, I can't remember that far back. You think I was some spring chicken to you? Like school was the other day, you know. But, yeah, I was gonna make something of my life, and hopefully I'm on the way there, if not there already. So yeah.
And you briefly spoke about geography and traveling, and you went traveling for 2 years. What did that teach you about your own perception of the world, your own perception of life, and what was the one city that you could feel if you were going to leave the UK, you could go and live in?
Yeah, so I went traveling when I was like 26, came back when I was 28. And yeah, it taught me a lot about mainly to like appreciate what we've got over here. I know a lot of the time we grumble about like whatever cost of living crisis and stuff like that. But then if you go to other countries, then you see what they haven't got, and then you compare to what we've got. Like we're living good. Obviously we can live better. We could always live better, but that's why it made me appreciate it a lot more. I did loads of countries. I ended up doing like 50 odd countries in that 2 year stint. Lived in Australia for a year. Australia would be definitely a country that I'd love to go back to again. In fact, I had like a top 3. So like Sydney was one of them. Lived there for like the majority of the time. Rio in Brazil, that was fantastic. And then Amsterdam, not for those reasons. But those are like my top 3. Those are the countries, but definitely like Australia, a beautiful country. Again, it's basically like a sunny England, and again, they've got their things in order. I would like to say so. Yeah, definitely just made me appreciate life, because again, I went to countries like Cambodia. Like if you check out their history and what they've had to go through, like it again, it makes you appreciate what we've got over here. Like even parts of South America that I went to as well. Like again, comparing that to what we've got in England, we've got nothing to complain about. So I advise anyone to do it in life. Like it's probably the best thing you can learn about life is just going and experiencing it elsewhere. Some people don't go outside of their own city, let alone the country, but definitely go out and just get some life experience, man.
What's the worst piece of advice that your parents have ever told you?
You're probably gonna laugh, but probably go to uni. Like in one respect is great. Don't get me wrong. Sorry. But in the other respect, I kind of wish, like, hindsight's a wonderful thing, in it. Everyone, you've probably got the same sort of parents that I had. Of like, you know, go to uni, get a job, settle down, 9 to 5. And I'm like, like the way the world is now, like you can just hustle your way into most things. Obviously, like you need uni if you want to be a doctor. I'm not saying you can hustle your way to being a doctor. I mean, you probably could, but like not in a. Not but I don't know. like the whole uni experience. I get it now. It's a business like anything else. But yeah, I think now the mindset of younger people, especially like us being second generation, is different. Like you can have one plate spinning here. This could be a 9 to 5, and the second plate could be spinning here, or you could just be doing something completely different, and it could be as important as what a normal person doing 9 to 5 is, if not more important. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. I don't think university is the only route. That's what I'm trying to say. So, not anyone who's gone there. Like I've been there twice, so I think I can speak. Like I know what I'm talking about in that respect, but I don't think it's the only route for every other person. Like you can do other things that can get you to the successes that you want to get to.
And when was the first time you actually picked up a camcorder or like any recording device?
Ooh, that would have been young. So that would have been young. So back in the day, yeah. So for all the young people who are watching this, yeah, there wasn't things like streaming and like CDs back in the day. If you wanted to catch your favorite song, yeah, you'd have to wait by the radio, have your two fingers on. You know what I'm about to say. That have your two fingers on play records, and then press it. And then before the adverts come on, you press pause so you don't catch the adverts. Yep. So that was it. That was my first entry into it. So yeah, I think for anyone who's probably over the age of 30 or 40 or whatever, like that is the first entry into like recording and stuff like that.
And
like,
bro, you listen, I used to record the Trevor Nelson every, I think it was on a Saturday afternoon. But hey, again, you are definitely triggering some crazy memories right now. But I mean, again, when it kind of came to the kind of visual aspect of like media, what was it that caught your eye but wanted you to pursue this more than just a hobby?
That's probably not till later on in life. I mean, the visual aspect of the story that I just gave there was, do you remember the box? I don't know if that's still the box. I again, my music videos was coming on. They weren't coming around all the time. I think at the time it was Spice Girls, Wannabe. That was a banging tune. I don't care what anyone says. And again, that was the same thing. Record, make sure you get it, and then you can keep it. But yeah, getting probably fast forwarding more onto like, this present day. It was not only till like I got to the age of 30 that I wanted to take it kind of seriously. And that's when I went back to uni, studied journalism. And then wasn't really interested in the writing side of things. I knew like I wanted to be more interested in the visual side of things, like creating my own content, that sort of thing. Because I was doing something completely different, like not completely different. I was doing like more sports coaching, like management and that sort of stuff. And I wanted to get more into like the media side of things. I had a taste for it. Like I worked on radio shows and did all that sort of stuff, but I knew I wanted to do the more visual side of things. So that's why I said, went back to uni at the age of 30, did my masters, and then just started, filming games. And my first taste of that was like when I was at uni up in Sunderland, and I was filming for Blythe Spartans. You probably heard of them, like through Football Manager. Like they're a big team up there, big in non-league. And then I just got a taste for it. Like that was my first entry into like, oh mate, I'm making my own, almost my own match of the day sort of thing. Like in terms of I was filming the game, creating the highlights, scores in like the score line, all of that sort of stuff there. And I was thinking, oh, this is great. Like I've actually just created like my own highlights package, like from scratch. So after that, then just, Rootz TV came about after that, which I'm sure we'll get into in a bit.
So being in Sunderland, the Northeast, how like was that for you? And like, being a black man, did you kind of feel that there was any, I don't know, pressure, resentment, tokenism?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. There was a few moments, like my first game now. I can't remember the two teams now, but someone made like a smarky remark. Like I was behind the camera, of course, filming the game. It's a non-league game, like really low down, doing getting work experience. And someone said, "Oh, who's Jay-Z behind the camera?" And obviously, it's talking about me. Now, you want to hear? I don't think you would hear that in London. Like, obviously, they're making a joke banter, but then that was just like a start of things to come in it. So, yeah, you get those sort of remarks up there because there's not a lot of us up there. It's diverse a little bit, like in Newcastle, but it's not anything compared to like the big cities like Birmingham, London, Manchester. But after a while, you kind of roll with those sort of things, and they don't come around all the time anyway. Like, it's not always like that for anyone who's not been in the Northeast. But that was just, again, that sticks out in my mind as my first game as well. Like, oh, why are you making these sort of funny remarks, sort of thing? But after a while, just it's easy to get noticed up there because, again, you're like sticking out like a sore thumb. You're a Londoner who's black, who's up in the Northeast in a not very too diverse city or county. But after a while, yeah, it got a lot easier. So yeah, taught me a lot.
And the name Rootz TV, like how did you come up with that name, and literally what was the kind of progression from your first follower or first subscriber to your 100th?
So the story of Rootz TV was, okay. So initially, as I said, I went to University of Sunderland, done my master's. First job was working for ITV up in Tyne-Tees. And then during that time, I was thinking, I want to do something like on the side, like a side hobby. So I was like a Newcastle United YouTuber at the time, just like talking about previews, reviews, that sort of thing, like all the fan channels are doing. But then I thought, you know what, I want to still get back into my non-league bag, like my grassroots bag. So I then got a job at BBC Sport after that in 2018. And I thought to myself, how can I like apply for any jobs that are doing that sort of stuff? And I couldn't see it. I know BBC did like these little hit pieces every now and then. They might go down to like a local football club and then do like a piece on them, and then that's it. You won't hear nothing of them after that. So I was like, where's like the constant? Like, where's the, what me and you do basically, like every single day? Who's doing that? So I couldn't really find anything. So I thought, if I can't see it, then I'm going to be it. And then I was just searching around for names. I had like notes of like names, like terrible names. And then at the time, my cousin was running a channel called Rootz TV, funny enough. And he was doing it around like music videos. So he was doing like the SBTV sort of vibe, but he was doing it for the Midlands. And I basically just messaged him one day. I was like, yo, cuz, can I have your name? Because you're not using that channel no more. And it was perfect, obviously, for what we do, like grassroots, Rootz TV. It's like, yeah, cool, that's fine. So it's as simple as that, really. Look, got the name, and then just start going from there. And initially, the first videos were about more like stories, because obviously coming from a journalism background, I just wanted to do stories. So I spoke to like, who was my first one? Oh, my first interview was, funny enough, I think his name's Peter Palmer, who I later on went on to find out that it was Nathan Palmer's dad. Nathan Palmer from AC Brothers. So again, he's a coach at Millwall. And I basically just asked him the question of like, how does a black guy with dreads, coach at a team that's notoriously quite, racist? And then he gave this answer and put it out there, and it did quite well. It's quite controversial because obviously, like, I tagged in Millwall and did all the rest of it, and people were saying like, we don't want to be known for that sort of thing, but let's face it, you kind of are. So it went from there, and then just it grew and grew and grew. Started doing other different stories. I remember the other story as well. Sorry, I'm going off topic, but
no, that's fine.
Now there was another story that I did around Yannick Bolassi's first club, or first non-league club, which is close to me, called Hillingdon Borough. And the reason why I did this story is because the woman who was the chairman at the time was saying that basically she was kind of not taken seriously because she was a woman and she was in a higher power position. And her story was that, we had no money at the time. We couldn't pay Yannick Bolassi, and he was a 17, 18-year-old at the time, and couldn't give him a goal bonus either. So the goal bonus was to pay him in burgers. So one game, he went and scored 8 goals. So he got 8 burgers. So he just ended up giving them out to everyone. So I put that little snippet out there. If you search it, you probably still find it. It's on Twitter somewhere. And yeah, Yannick Bolasie even retweeted himself. It's like he said he remembered that story itself as well. The chairman was called D as well, D Dan. So shout out to her as well. But yeah, like little unknown stories like that just were great to me, because I was just thinking, like, not many people know about these sort of stories that happen at non-league level where there's not much budget, but they're great little stories that people should be sharing. So that's what I initially went on to before what you see beyond you now. So I know you talked about like the first subscriber and the 100th one, but even before I started YouTube, that's what I was doing, just solely focus on Instagram, getting short stories and then getting them out there to like the masses.
You are renowned for your daily content. You know, you are a machine that, you know, one of like the hardest working like content creators that I know. There was a period, and I don't know when it was, where you didn't put anything out on social media for a few months. Can I ask why that was the case? And actually, what was the spark or the turning point for you to reset and start putting out content?
Yeah, I've had them a couple times. So the one you're probably talking about is just probably just over a year ago, when I just had like burnout, basically. Like, as you said, I'm a machine, but I'm a one-man machine. Like, I haven't got someone else to turn to and be like, yo, can you take the reign for a little bit? I'm tired. Like, I've tried to, it's not worked out in terms of trying to share the workload, but I just basically was burnt out. Like, people need to remember sometimes, or all the time, that we're humans, and at the end of the day, like, we're just doing this for the love. Like, yeah, we'd probably like to turn this into like a multi-million-pound business, but at the moment it isn't. So at the time I was just like tired. I was working, you know, my day job plus this, plus, you know, trying to live a life and look after my family and stuff like that. And I thought, you know what? Why? Like, I'm probably putting more time into this and effort into this than I actually am my day job, and not getting paid because of it. So people just need to realize, like, just because you see videos popping up on your Insta page or YouTube channel, like, it takes time. Like, the amount of time and effort, like, it takes, you know, better than anyone, like, the amount of time and effort it takes for us to create these videos and then get very little back. I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna just put myself first, because who else is going to, end of the day? So that was that. And then I think the reason why I come back to it is because, you know, after a while people miss it. You know what I mean? Like, you've given them such good service and good quality, and then people start saying, oh man, I miss your videos, man, da-da-da. And it kind of, I'm not gonna lie, it kind of boosts your ego. And then I thought, you know what, if I do come back, I'll do it on my terms, not just like, oh, I need to pump out a video per day, and especially like a YouTube video per day. Like, it's easier, should I say, doing the Instagram video where it's like clipping this up, maybe putting some effects on whatever. But to turn around YouTube content, which I was doing like daily, and this is from scratch, bearing in mind, this is not like just opening up a laptop lid and then just, you know, talking like me and you are doing now. That's easy for us. But the sort of content I was making and that we've made before is like from scratch, going to a game, filming 90 minutes, bringing it back, editing for 4 to 5, 6 hours, then creating highlights, graphics, then cutting out for socials. Like, that's a full-time job. Believe me, I know, because I'm in the industry. So people don't see those sort of side of things. Like, they're probably not interested in it. But again, when we're telling you it takes a hell of a lot, please respect us in that respect. And, you know, whether it be just saying thank you, whether it just be paying something towards it, like, people need to respect that. So yeah.
And why do you think burnout and mental health, we don't talk about this as content creators, especially within the network that we are involved in?
Because I don't know, just people just got like short-term memories, I think, sometimes as well. Like, people just forget, like, we're human at the end of the day. They just, as I said, they just see a page and they just see content and just don't think like what it takes to get that content onto your page. Like, I feel like I can like connect with you because me and you do the same thing, and like other people as well. Like when I see other content creators within our field now, I'm like, okay, I can see that would have taken some time. Like if I see someone's match highlights, I'm like, yo, that took some effort. Like when I see Dons, for example, their content, I'm like, rah, they've got 8 different camera angles and graphics. Da, da, da. I can appreciate that. People will just see it for face value as, oh, it's a video, it's 20 minutes long, cool. But then when I see that effort, I'm like, yo, I've got to respect them because they're the ones putting all their time and effort into this. And, they're getting the rewards back. I'm not at the stage where I'm not at that level yet, but hopefully one day I will be. But yeah, we definitely need to speak about it because, end of the day, like if you're enjoying our content, you need to respect like what it comes with. Like it's a lot of time spent, missing out on family occasions or possible earning opportunities as well. So again, people need to respect that. You can't just be like, oh, liked your video, dropped a comment and that's it. Or sometimes they don't even do that. So I think you need to sometimes check in on these people because a lot of the time, like, especially when I stopped as well, people were just like, oh, sending me stuff. Can you post this? Can you post this? How about, hey, how are you? Start a conversation. Like we're human beings rather than just like sending me stuff to post. Can you post this? Like, no, like, where's your manners? You left it at home. You know what I mean? So sometimes just respect the people and then you might get a more positive response, build a rapport because I think that's what I need to start doing now as well. Like, building a rapport with the people, building a rapport with the platforms. Don't just send us stuff and then just expect us to put it up because we are human beings at the end of the day.
What is your worst trait?
My worst trait. God, I've got so many. Nah, you know what? Probably learning to say no, or just like, yeah. I think during the time when I stopped, I kind of just evaluated like what works and what doesn't, and like taking more time back for myself. So before I would have just gone extra hard in terms of just like pumping out content all the time, constantly, constantly, constantly. And then I'll get to the stage where I'm tired and burnt out, and then I'll just start being ratty. So I think giving more time back to myself and then just taking care of myself, because I can work hard, but at the same time, like, who's going to look after myself? So yeah, I think that's the trait that I've started to manage more. Also kind of let things build up for too long before like addressing them. So sometimes maybe I just need to address them straight away. So those are probably two. Why, have you got more for me? Have you?
No, well, I mean, hey, like, listen, I mean, we've like known each other now for, I mean, to be honest, I can't even remember the first time that we spoke. But again, your like logo is a very distinctive. It's a gold, it's a green, like it's once you see it, like it's just in your brain. And like we like spoke, and again, like like we would call each other. And again, like I think if people know me, I'm like very transparent with my feelings, and so are you. And there was a period where we didn't speak, and literally, I was angry and frustrated and a bit confused in terms of why. Of course, like we spoke about it now, but I mean, what was your kind of recollection about the whole thing, and literally how were you feeling when like everything was kind of snowballing and literally happening between us?
God, it feels like so long ago now. I don't know. At the time, probably just, I don't know. Maybe I was just a bit angry. Well, obviously, I was angry at the time, but just more. I don't know. Just hurt, maybe. As I said, like I speak to you a lot. I can. We have a lot of stuff in common. So I was like, oh, probably at the time I was just angry about that as well. the fact that, you know, this guy is coming for me. I don't even know what we fell out about, to be honest. I really don't. Because all I remember is like we was at the awards show. No, that was afterwards. That was afterwards.
Yeah. That was after.
I don't even know, to be fair. Like,
no, it was literally about the football. It's like you was like looking to set up the team, and I was looking to set up the team. And then
oh my god, yeah. Now I just okay.
Yeah, so you remember now. So literally,
I was
so it's literally, and again, like you was like setting up your
that was it, because baby were chiming in on stuff that was just between me and you. You know what? Yeah, that was it. Okay, yeah,
and then and then I mentioned to you, like hopefully you're gonna get your boots on because I'm gonna get my boots on, and then literally it just kind of just went all awkward, and I'm like, I don't know what I've said.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was kind of that. It was that situation.
Yeah. Oh, listen, those things happen, man. Listen, it's no one in my life that I haven't fallen out with anyway. Like, so it's one of them. Like, I fall out with my mum every day, but I still love her in it. So it's one of them. But we're talking now. That's the main thing in it. It's not like it was anything serious, because otherwise we wouldn't be doing this, clearly. But yeah, bygones be bygones. End of the day, like, life's too short sometimes for certain things. There's certain people that I won't speak to, but you're one of them, so you're cool. You're fine.
I mean, that's a good segue into other content creators and like other people as well. I mean, with your experiences with like other people, other kind of content creators, is it kind of something where you just refuse not to speak to certain people? Is it a conversation that can be had between, you know, some of us, that we can just sit down and say, okay, you know what, this is like what I meant by this, and then you can respond back? Or literally, are you just cutting ties?
Oh, listen, I'm listen, for me, I'm good, man. Like,
don't lie, man.
Listen, I'm good.
On.
See, come on, man. Like, as I said, if me and you fell out and then we're still able to talk, there must have been something in between that just bridged the gap there, and that's fine. But for me now, I ain't got really time to waste for people that are wasting my time. In that respect, like, for me, you got to show me respect, because people know I'm deep in this thing. Like, whether you like it or not, I'm not going anywhere. And one thing I won't tolerate as well is being like bullied, or my friends being bullied as well. Like, I respect a whole lot of people within this, because again, as I said before, it takes a lot of time, takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of passion, a lot of energy as well. So when people are just disrespecting other people, I don't really like that. Like, as I said, I've been very nice to a lot of people, offered olive branches to other people in terms of like whoever get into this. Anyone who's part of this content creator scene, that initially they'll be able to say they've spoke to me on the phone. They can always contact me in terms of getting advice, whatever. Like, if you're talking about Fazan, Mr. SLS up in Birmingham, if you talk about OMB2R, talk about Selk, like everyone, yourself. So again, everyone knows me, like, in terms of they've spoken to me at one stage and be nice. But what I won't tolerate is this disrespect. And after a while, like, I'm just like, nah, I've got no time for it. Like, I'm a grown man. I've got other things to be dealing with. And then this is like the last thing I want to be dealing with, in terms of like people just taking the piss. And like, when people like do that and disrespect my peers within this industry as well, then I just won't tolerate it either. So yeah, that's it. Like, if people want to have a conversation, cool. But at the same time, you know, there's respect levels here, because again, we're all giving up our time and efforts to grow this beautiful game in it and this platform. So I think that's how it is right now. So yeah.
You were in the initial, I'd say, stages regarding the SFL, in terms of being like part of the media with myself and You're Fresh. What was your reasons why you didn't want to join the team at that present moment in time? And is it something that you would come back to?
Yeah, of course. I made my my comments known, like at the time, because I was moving away from London. I now currently reside in your neck of the woods in Leeds. So I just thought, like, you know what, it's just too much of a, it's too awkward, like being up here and then obviously games being based down in London, sorry, to like make it work. And you know, what I was constantly bringing up, and still, you probably could educate me on this to this day. It's like, what would be my role in this? Bearing in mind, like, I didn't hear any like financial reimbursements in this sort of thing. So I'm like, okay, we've already gone through this. A lot of time goes into this. A lot of effort goes into this. A lot of money goes into this already. Would I be coming down from Leeds to London every single weekend? That's money. Would I be editing games? That's time and money. Like, what am I getting back from this? Like, because as I said before, I've given out a lot of time promoting these grassroots teams and Sunday league teams, and I still do to this day, and I'm happy to. But at the same time, sometimes you got to think to yourself, like, what am I getting back for this? And that's not sounding bitter or jealous or anything like that, but we give a lot of time promoting these teams and not getting a lot back. So I don't think those answers, I don't think I was getting the answers back. And I don't know if anything changed since, you know, our initial conversations. But yeah, that was my way of thinking of it at the time. And I've been watching it obviously from the sidelines and just seeing how it develops. And yeah, like I've yeah, I'm still watching. Yeah, I'm waiting.
And how important is it as creators to actually know what we're worth and to not settle for anything less than that? And also as well, what's the kind of, I'd say, that kind of blurred line in terms of doing something because you love it and doing something because there's going to be a financial benefit?
Well, to answer the first question, it's imperative, man. People need to realize your worth, because otherwise people will just treat you like shit. Like, again, manners is key. So when people just send me stuff cold and not even say, hi, how are you? Or would you mind posting this? Or would this be suitable for your page or whatever? Like, get to know the person behind the page before like you just start sending it cold and blank. Like, I don't consider ourselves like a grassroots goals or 433 where you don't know who runs a page. Like, you've seen me on your sidelines, you've seen you on your sidelines, you've seen everyone else on the sidelines. So get to know the person first before, you know, just cold sending them. And again, in terms of like what you're saying, like knowing your worth is, of course, is important, because people will just, I could be out every single day of the week, you know, and twice on Sundays in terms of filming stuff. People always invite me to stuff because they want to see their stuff filmed. But the moment you start saying, okay, let me put some value to this, they'll start, you know, pulling back in a little bit, and then you think to yourself, hold on a minute, so you're telling me my service is not worth anything? I've bought my camera, which is worth a lot. I've paid petrol out of my own pocket or whatever to get there. I filmed for a couple of hours. I then edit it for 7 or 8 hours. Then I put it on my timeline to my followers, which is built over time. So, you know, you're going to a targeted audience, which is geared towards your audience as well. And you're telling me that's not worth nothing. But then, you know, if a competitor, for example, I don't know, your instant replay or film my match, if you used to go and get them to film your cup final, you would have to take money out of your pocket and then say, here you go, here's money. So why are you not doing it for us? Like, I don't understand the difference, because we're doing the exact same thing. Like, even VO, you couldn't take a VO out of the box and be like, yeah, I'm taking that, and then I'm not giving you nothing for it. But they're doing the exact same thing that we're doing, and you're not going to give us a penny. Like, what is the logic? It's like, I always compare this to something else, like another service, because we're in the service industry, right? So okay, if your water's broken, you get the plumber out. You think you can say to the plumber, cheers, see you later? No, you couldn't. So we're providing the service as well. So why not say, okay, first things first, how much would it cost me to get you out, rather than come to my game straight away? Like, manners, like, we've got the same bills to pay as you guys do. So what's the deal here? That's what I'm saying. In terms of worth, and I've passed this information on to like other content creators as well, and they're thankful for it as well. It's like, make sure you set your bar high or low, however you want to say it, in terms of what you're willing to come out for. Because if you say you're only coming out for 20 quid, then that's barely covering petrol money nowadays. So you got to start saying to yourself, okay, what am I worth? What am I providing these teams? Because if we look at ourselves, see, we're providing like 4 or 5 different services here. Sorry if I'm bored, I'm going around
No,
the
no, no,
house.
no, 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 no.
Like providing like 4 or 5 different services here, and we probably don't even know it. Like filming is one thing. Trust me, believe me, people, when you're seeing this and hearing this, people, because I work in this industry. So these are different services: filming, editing, graphic design, PR. Like that's 4 in itself already. And that's even before we get into like commentary, documentary making, like project management. All of these things are different skills that you would have to pay different people for within the media industry. And we're doing all of this for scot free, for next to nothing. And when you think to yourself, hold on, I'm not even offering this guy a drink, something to eat, or even probably said thank you to him. Like, be grateful, because again, end of the day, most of these teams nowadays, they've seen the likes of your SE Dons, they've seen the likes of your Bay Teasers, and they want to replicate that. But bearing in mind, these guys have not got there overnight. These guys have taken 7, 8 years, probably even longer to get there. It's only now you're starting to see it. So in order to get there, they've had to have media people running it, whether it's in-house people, external people, and all the rest of it. And I often say this, and people might disagree, but we're probably just as important as the players on the pitch, if not more. Because, and hear me out before people think what you're on about. If we're not there, who's seen your product? It's the same 5 people that can come into your game all the time. Whereas if we're here to film it, edit it, post it, whatever, promote it, then it's pushed out to the masses. And that's what gets your views and your likes and all the rest of it. But that's what also brings in the sponsors. That's what also brings in the brands. So respect the content creators, and again, respect their worth. So when they come to you and say, I have to charge you £100, it's £100, bro. Like, but split between the whole team of 11 people, not even to mention the 4 or 5 on the bench. That's a drink. So you're telling me each person hasn't got a drink for you just to say, here you go, mate. There's my game filmed, edited. We're going to build upon this and go down the long route, rather than just say like, nah, I'm not doing it. Like, come on, guys. Like, think about it. Like these teams that I mentioned before, yes, Dons, Palmers, Bay Teasers, all the rest of it, they've spent time and effort and money, whether it be in-house or getting someone else in, and they're now starting seeing that the benefits, the fruits of their labor. So again, if you're really serious about growing this and you want to become that next branded team, you've got to either come through us or you got to get someone else in. Either way, you're going to have to pay that person who's going to create that content for you. Then there's the editing. That takes time in itself. That's probably worth more than the filming nowadays, like the editing process. Then it's the pushing and the promotion. That's PR. That's in itself. Again, now we've got tailored audiences to what we're doing. So again, even to push and promote on our pages should come out something, whether it be a drink or a shirt or whatever. That's something else. So all of those things taken into consideration, and you can't even say, how much is that going to cost me, mate? Like, even just trying to strike a deal, don't just take it for granted that we're just going to do this, because again, we could be doing other things. We could be spending time with our families. We could be spending time earning money elsewhere for our families. So that was me rambling on about worth and stuff like that, because sometimes people need to recognize our worth.
What is your opinion about non-league football and Sunday league football, or the YouTube scene, and how there's a few players are now leaving non-league to actually play Sunday league football, to actually have that kind of YouTube social media experience?
It's strange because when we was younger, it's the other way around, right? Everyone wanted to go into non-league and get a bit of change and, be the next, I don't know, Jamie Vardy or whoever, going up the leagues. But now it's the other way around now, mainly probably due to what we do in terms of creating content, and they want to get their highlight reels up and all the rest of it, but also mainly due to wanting to enjoy it, right? They want to enjoy not the labors of 90 minutes having to track that left back, that right winger the whole game, or you know what I mean, or they want to just be a bit lazy and just I'll just turn up for the last 20 minutes and score the winner and that's it. Like, they want to start enjoying it again, and that's, I can understand it. I can see the reasons why. Like, it's more fun. It takes you back to when you was younger, when you're just playing for shits and giggles rather than, I don't know, the 50 quid that you're picking up, which is probably going to get eaten away from, petrol money and all the rest of it. So I can see the reasons why people are going back to Sunday League now. And let's face it now, a lot of these Sunday League teams have got bigger brands than the non-league teams anyway. And that's what people want to be a part of. Do you know what I mean? Barring obviously the obvious ones like Hashtag and Rising Borders, obviously they're big ones, but even they started Sunday League, let's face it. So yeah, people want to be part of this whole new wave now, because let's be honest, like, it's still in its infancy. As I said, SC Dons and Beatties are the front runners. They've been going for a long while now, but only now it's starting to get really, really prominent now. So again, it's still in its infancy. A lot of people are trying it now, and people want to be riding the wave now, whether they're starting their new teams themselves, whether they're doing individual vlogs and all the rest of it now. So you can see the attraction of it, And again, it's easy access. You don't have to be of a certain age or a certain look. You can do it at any time, any space. It's easy accessible. You've just got to be able to put in the time and effort in as well. And that's whether you want to like it or not. You either, as I said before, you either got to spend your time doing it yourself, or you got to hire one of us and just let us help you out as well. But yeah, Sunday League is ever growing, man. Like, credit to like the pioneers, like Palmer's. They started this thing. Let's be honest. Like, a lot of people don't even know that. People keep thinking that it's SC Dons, but it's Palmer's, closely followed by SC Dons, Beatties, and then everyone else has had their run in between there. But credit to the ones that have stuck it out. Because again, as I said before, it's a slog. Like, people just think it's going to happen like that. It doesn't, guys. You might get one viral video and then go quiet after that. You got to keep it going. Consistency is key in this. Like, as much as I do, like, sometimes you just don't feel like doing it. But then if you don't do it, the next person will, and then they'll just go on to the next person. So yeah, keep it up.
And literally, I just want to say, I've got to give absolute credit to yourself, Your Fresh, Selk, the people that have actually been around for years. I mean, I call the Damien Dash of the industry. I'm going to call you the P. Diddy of this industry. What are your goals for 2023 and beyond?
2023 and beyond. So I did a video on this, funny enough, at the end of last year. So a couple of them was to start a podcast, which is regularly doing something. What I'm going to do on, it's going to be obviously around grassroots football, but I'm just trying to find a different spin to it, because I don't want it to be, I want it to stand out. So that's one. Second one, which is the main one, is to start taking this more seriously financially. So it might end up me being out less, but at the same time, I've got to start saving for certain things, adulting and all that stuff. So house, mortgage, that sort of stuff. So it might mean going out less, but at the same time, being more sustainable. The third one, which I've been trying to do for the longest time, is to start a team. I think that might be the key to it. Not a team around me, because I've tried that, it doesn't work. Or maybe, but again, I would like to have a football team that's dedicated to the channel. So I think then I could just focus on that team. Because I speak to a lot of people about this sort of stuff. Like, I speak to Owen from B2R, shout out to Owen. And again, I've given him like a few pointers, and I think he's starting to benefit from it as well. So I like to take some of my own advice and then just like really hone in on those three things. And then the fourth one as well, I mentioned, was working with brands, because obviously a lot of brands now, they always sniff around like when whatever's hot is happening. So again, I see like they're working with your big G's, Don Strapsies, Teniolas and stuff like that. So I want to start delving into that now, because my numbers are starting to get up there as well. Hopefully people start to see what I'm doing, and I'm starting to throw myself forward more as well. So I'm not just the logo, I'm the man behind the logo, or to the side of the logo. So yeah, get myself out there, work with brands and work with other collaborators as well.
Would you say that you're a perfectionist?
Ooh, I would have back in the day, but now I just throw things out. But I'm not. But you know what? There's a method to the madness, because I've started. People if you're a follower of my page, then you know what I'm looking for now. Like you can, it's quite easy to see now. Like I go for the stuff that gets people talking, you know. So again, as long as I can find that gem within that 20 or 30-minute video, I'm happy. Obviously I want to polish it up and try and make it as funny as appealing as possible, but as long as I can find that thing, that gem, yeah, get it out there, man. Because again, I always say, like, what good is it is going to be on your hard drive where no one can see it or the world can judge it, and if it flops, it flops. I've tried it, but most of the time now things tend to work now because we've been doing it for so long. So yeah.
And what's your biggest tip to any content creator starting next week? What's the first thing that they should do?
First thing they should do. Well, I've got the 4 C's. The 4 C's is content. So again, make sure you're getting the right content and make sure it's different, because a lot of people are doing the basics nowadays, which is, you know, going, filming a game, editing it, and all the rest of it. Maybe adding a bit of commentary, but again, like, what is different now? What's going to set you aside from all of the big names that I've just mentioned previously before? Whether you're going to be as a team or as an independent content creator like ourselves, what's going to make you stand out? So find your lane, find your niche. The second one is costs. So again, what can you afford in terms of filming? Whether it be going out again a big expensive camera, or you're doing it on your phone, like all of those things you've got to take into consideration. Are you willing to go from west to south or south to north? Like all of that stuff adds up. You're shaking like, yeah, it does. Like some people, before I used to go all over the shop. I used to go to south sometimes, I used to go to east. Now I just stay, well, before when I was living in London, I just stay in my little West London bubble. And the same up here now in Leeds. I just stay in Leeds or maybe sometimes in Bradford, like just to keep down costs, but always take costs into consideration as well. What was the other third? Oh, the third one was characters. So you always need good characters. A lot of the times in my videos, you might see me at the same sort of games all the time because I know who to speak to. And there's always two types of people. You know, there's people that love the cameras. Look at me, they're golden. And then you got the shy ones that, bro, don't get me on camera, bro. I've got a case or something like that. Like, we stay clear of them sort of people. But yeah, make sure you get the right sort of characters, because again, they're the ones that are going to help promote your channels, especially if you're just going to be solely behind the camera as well. So characters is key. And then the last one, which I'm sure everyone can vouch for, is consistency. There's going to be times when you're going to be getting 10 views, 20 views, probably no views. No one's seen, no one likes it, but you've got to stay consistent. I'm going to keep saying it again. The guys at the top, they weren't getting their 100K views all the time. There must have been times when they was getting like 10K views and they was buzzing for that. Now they're reaping the rewards. And even the ones that come after them, Rising Ballers, Kitchener, all the other teams that are doing well, like, there's going to be times when you're not getting that, but if you stay consistent and you believe in your project, then it'll come over time. It'll come over time.
Yeah, that's amazing. Clinton, I just want to say on record, again, you know, there's like only a few people that, again, have the drive, the passion, the aggression, the love, and the strategic process to actually make this work. And you are you are one of a few people that literally have that. And yeah, like every time we speak, it's a hi, how you doing? But then it's strategy. Then it's like, oh, this and that. Like there isn't no small talk when we talk. And yeah, you know, I think you are a huge success, and it's just going to be a matter of time. It's just going to be a matter of time because I can kind of safely say that you are like the king of YouTube Shorts. Like you know exactly, you know exactly what you're doing, and again in social media, just in general. So yeah, literally, I just want to big you up right now.
No, thank you, man. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. And big up to you as well, man. Like we've had, as I said, we've had a lot of conversations. Like you're the reason why I started YouTube. Like get this on record. Because I remember as I said before, I was solely focused on Instagram, just doing short content. That's the reason why I think I probably mastered it to a certain degree. But he was like, nah, man, give some something longer. Give him YouTube, man. I was like, oh, no, I don't know. I can't be bothered, man. But eventually, man, you got me there. Like, I think it was during lockdown. Started doing like team talks and stuff like that. Before you know it, that's when I started getting into the games properly. So yeah, big up yourself, man, because you're a pioneer out here, man. Like you've been doing this for a long time, and you continue to do that, man. You continue to champion teams in South London. The vets scene is lost without you because like Bippinell, you shine out a massive light. Like imagine like me, I'm just doing a light here, there, and everywhere. Like the vets, they get the full beam from to be. Like, yeah, big up you, man.
Oh, thank you, thank you. And where can people find you?
Man, if you haven't found me by now, you just
No.
nah, Rootz TV, man. ROOTZ TV on all platforms. YouTube, TikTok, Insta, Twitter, not Facebook, because I can't be bothered with that one, but on all platforms, just shining light on the beautiful game. That's it.